Hi, today I'm here to talk with you about the Trecena of Ajmak. And I know I haven't really chosen the best lighting situation and that kind of thing, but look at that. I couldn't let you miss out on this beautiful morning, this beautiful view across the lake. It's just absolutely spectacular this morning. Hang on, let me show you around a little bit. Look, there's San Pedro volcano, and there's Toliman and Atitlan in the distance, and then looking across the lake, and then San Marcos right there. And so that's how it is around here. And so let me put it back there because it's just beautiful over there. And I know I'm probably going to look a little bit dark in that, but what can I say? It's the Ajmak Trecena. It's a time of forgiveness, right? It's a time of accepting ourselves and being a human. I thought I'd let my hair down today as well. Why not? Be human. I'm sure that you'll forgive me. It's the Trecena of Ajmak, right? And that's really what it's all about. For me, this is a time of forgiveness. This is a time of reconciliation. This is a time of acceptance. I believe a few weeks ago, I thought that I heard something, or I thought that I kind of like intuited something, and then I actually saw it written down later on. I was like, well, maybe I read it. And it was about accepting ourselves and each other, not in spite of the scars that we carry, but because of the scars that we carry. It's acceptance that, like, it's those things which make us human. It's those things that show that we've lived a human life, that we've fallen over and got back up again. That's the part that makes us interesting in a way. And so I think it's really important also that we don't kind of like obsess on those scars and kind of like just like look at them all the time and never forget them and all that kind of thing, because then we're losing sight of what's really going on about how to be a human. And so it's a time of acceptance. It's a time of healing. It's a time of resolution through forgiveness. And so this, kind of like 13 days is a great time to be working out, resolving old issues so that we can move forward, so we can be our beautiful, sweet, delightfully messy human selves, because that's what we're here to be. So we're going to begin the Trecena, of course, with one Ajmak. We could see this as the beginning of forgiveness. We could see this as a new redemption. And as such, we can imagine that this is kind of like a time when it's like, right, okay, it's, let's say, time to draw a line under some things which might happen in the past. It's time to kind of like say, right, okay, I've been holding on to that for long enough. It's time to move forward. It's time to move on. So one Ajmak can see us kind of like beginning this phase. Maybe it begins with a phone call. Maybe it begins with a message or a letter or whatever it might be. It's time to say, right, okay, I can't carry this burden of shame or blame of guilt anymore. It's time to begin the process of forgiveness. Now, that might be to yourself, that might be to somebody else. However it works, it's a great day to embrace that. And it's a great day to embrace being a human. With the Trecena of Ajmak, one of the things that we have to remember is this is all about being a human. So enjoy your humanity. Enjoy all of the, sensual parts of it, the fun parts of it. With our life, obviously, a lot of responsibility comes in. We all choose our responsibilities, and sometimes we maybe even don't choose them. But sometimes that takes away our humanity. And Ajmak is a time to kind of like drop that responsibility off a little bit. It's time to say, right, okay, I'm just going to enjoy being a human for a little while. So go out and do some fun things. Go out and remember what life is all about, what living life fully is all about. It doesn't have to be precise. We're allowed to colour outside the lines from time to time, or forever if you want to as well. That's up to you. But for me, also, this would suggest that this, like one Ajmak This is beginning of remembering to be a human. And throughout this Trecena, we could also say that maybe this is not the best time for precision work. This is kind of like where we want to leave that for a little while. We want to move that on to something else. And so, like, take your time during that Trecena to go and enjoy your humanity and remember what it is to be a delightful, messy human. From one Ajmak, we then move into two Noch. So Noch, the Nawal of the brain, the Nawal of intellect, the Nawal of information, of knowledge. And here we see it with the number 2. Now, one of the things that I like to see with the number 2, this is duality, and we need duality. We need contrast in our lives. This is what helps to bring out some of the richness. And when we see it with Noch, I see this kind of Noch we often see as being the one who is solving the problem. And if we're solving the problem, we can't do it from, kind of like a unilateral standpoint. We need to see both sides of the story. We need to understand both sides of the issue in order to really come up with a true solution. And so I feel like Tu Noch brings out both sides of the information, both sides of the knowledge. And in that way, we're able to weave them together to come up with an ideal solution. Now, the number 2 can also represent relationships, and Tu Noch might be, kind of like resulting in, if there's anything that needs sorting out, that needs solving, that needs adjusting in your relationship, then maybe Tu Noch is a great day to be having those conversations, to think your way around it. Because that's, what it's here to do as well. From Tu Noch, we're then moving into 3 Tijax. Now, 3 Tijax, I've probably said many times before that I have my kind of like my favourite days or my special days or days when it just seems to have a particular significance about it. And, for me, a Tijax, the obsidian blade, Tijax can represent the healing as well. And where are we focusing it? The number 3 is focusing it within. It's within the home. It's within the heart. The phrase that I associate with 3 Tijax is polishing your inner diamond, because that's literally what it's all about. It's looking within you and seeing how you can purify. Now, of course, this might be something within the Ajmak Trecena, where we can see, it's time to cut stuff away, especially stuff that we might be holding inside. It's time to heal our hearts. And, that Tijax blade can come along and cut away, as I said, burdens, shame, blame, guilt. Maybe we're here to purify them in this Ajmak Trecena. And in particular, on this day of 3 Tijax, it's about looking within, looking inside of you and seeing what you can cut away. What you can cut away to purify, what you can cut away to perfect yourself in a way as well. And say, right, okay, yeah, I'm done with carrying this. Time to let it go. Time to be a human. And time to enjoy the perfection that comes through that. Time to enjoy the healing that happens within when we allow ourselves to cut away those things which don't serve us anymore. From 3 Tijax, we're then going into 4 Kawok. So Kawok, the Nawal of birth and birthing. Kawok, the Nawal of the midwife. Kawok, the one who is bringing the new into the world. Kawok, the rain. Well, it doesn't look like we're going to get any rain here, that's for sure. But we help to understand how the new is born into the world through Kawok. Here we see it with the number 4. And so this is a very physical number. This is very much down to earth. It's the 4 cardinal points, physical plane of existence. And so this is bringing into being something new. Now, in this Ajmak Trecena, we could see, kind of like maybe that forgiveness is birthing something new into the world. Maybe it's kind of like almost like a rebirthing of your humanity in a way, kind of like sometimes we go down a route where we're trying to perfect and we're trying to do all of these kind of things, and we kind of lost sight of who we are or what we are and that kind of thing. And so for Kawok gives you a chance to kind of like go out and try something new into the physical world, to bring something new in. And so you might be assisting the birth, you might be, kind of like it might be for somebody else as well. But for me, Kawok is really looking at taking a step forward here in the physical plane. And maybe it's like rebirthing yourself, like rebooting your humanity, as it were. And say, you know what, I used to really enjoy going and doing that. Why don't I rebirth it? Why don't I birth that into my physical reality again? Because that was part of me. That's part of my humanity. From 4 Kawok, we then move into 5 Ajpu. So Ajpu, the Nawal of the divine, the Nawal of the hero's journey, the Nawal of the divine path. 5 Ajpu is suggesting working on your path. Now, I'd always say that the path of the hero is not the easy path, right? Because it's like you got to prove yourself. You got to go up against the demons or the dragons or whatever it might be to prove that you're worthy of the title hero. And here we see it with the number 5, which is about putting your energy into it, putting your work into it. And so, kind of like Aq'ab'al can be seen about bringing the best out of yourself and those around you. And in this time of accepting that we're human, as it were, in the time of the Trecena of Ajmak, we can also see that maybe we've got to put some work into our divine path as well. And so 5 Ajpu is the ideal day to be doing that, to put your energy into that which you might be looking to follow as your divine path. From 5 Ajpu, we're then going into 6 Imox. Imox representing the dream, Imox representing the water, the lake. Imox, the one who connects us all together. Now, being all connected together can be great because we're getting the understanding, we're getting the feeling of what's going on around us. We kind of like understand what's happening in society, but sometimes we get too pulled into that society. Sometimes we kind of like lose the sense of ourselves, we lose the sense of our own dreams. 6 Imox is here to stabilize it. 6 Imox is here to take it and say, right, okay, how can I manifest those dreams into the physical world, but also with the connection above and below, with the connection to Divine Father, Divine Mother, however we want to look at it, the heart of the sky and the heart of the earth. How can we manifest those into our dreams, into the physical plane? 6 Imox is a wonderful day to be working on that. It's a wonderful day to be looking at it from the point of view of like, is this my dream? How can I work it into the dreams of my family? And so if if you have a dream, there's something that kind of like your human nature wants to dream into existence, then 6 Imox is going to be a great day on which to do that. From 6 Imox, we then go to 7 Iq. Iq, the Nawal of the wind, the Nawal of the breath, the Nawal of communication. And here with the number 7, there's 2 things that immediately jump out on this. One is about the choice of words, because 7 representing, kind of like seeing everything from the peak of the pyramid and saying, right, okay, how do I choose my words to have the impact that I actually want to create? Because, kind of like sometimes, kind of like our words will have an impact on an ik day, but maybe it wasn't something that we were, let's say, hoping for. Maybe it wasn't an ideal situation that we created through our words. And so 7 ik is giving you the view of how to choose the words that you really want to move forwards with. Now, we also see that the number 7 can be related to endings. And so, like another phrase that comes up very much with the 7 ik is the final word. And so there's part of it which is like, kind of like maybe in this Ajmak Trecena, we're having the final word about something. Maybe we're going to kind of like speak about something which needs to be forgiven. And then we can say, right, okay, we don't need to speak about that anymore. Of course, in this, we are going to need to choose our words carefully because, we're trying to heal a wound, right? We're not trying to reopen it. So, sometimes we don't want to go there. We don't want to talk about it because, like, by talking about it, we're bringing it back to the surface again. 7 is a great day to finish things off, to have the final conversation and say, right, okay, let's shake on it. Let's move on from that. Here's the final word. We're done. Thank you. Off we go. So, again, in, kind of like a time of forgiveness and maybe resolution of conflict, 7 is a great day to get your word out there as to what needs to be said. From 7 we're then moving into 8 Aq'ab'al. Okay, so obviously I'm a bit after sunrise here. It's certainly not twilight right now. And, for me, 8 Aq'ab'al, the wholeness, the beginning of the concept and the finality of the concept, bringing them all together, seeing it in the darkness and the light. And, kind of like Aq'ab'al, for me, very much about bringing things to light, bringing them out of the darkness and into the light. It's about understanding that, kind of like especially with the number 8, we have to understand the shadow in order to kind of like make things whole. And in order to understand the shadow, we're going to have to cast light on it. And so it's this understanding of wholeness that comes from seeing, again, both sides, like the two noch in a way, but that's kind of more thinking about it. With the 8 Aq'ab'al, this is understanding the whole cycle of darkness and light, and understanding that we have to go through, kind of like whether it's night and day, we have to have a balance of them. Whether it's seeds growing from the ground and into the light, it's kind of like however we look at it. It's not just that we can be in the light the whole time. We need a little bit of shadow in there. Again, going back to that whole idea, giving life some contrast. And so when we accept it totally, this is also kind of like if we see it as the Trecena of Ajmak, where we accept ourselves and others totally for everything that we are. In this 8 Aq'ab'al day, we understand that, kind of like this is the balance of our shadow and our light. This is the balance of, kind of like the bits that we like to show and the bits that we like to hide, as it were. So 8 Aq'ab'al is embracing all of it and saying, that's everything that makes me a human, all of those concepts that I carry. From 8 Aq'ab'al, we then move into 9 Kat. So Kat, the nawal of the net. Kat, that which we're carrying our bag, in our bag. The harvest, the abundance that we carry. And here, combined with the number 9, is a wonderful, wonderful day. Kind of like this is carrying our life's harvest. So there's something really, spectacular about that, as it were. Sorry, there's a lot of superlatives in there, isn't there? But, really I do see 9 Kat as being a really rather favourable day. It's about, like, sometimes we see Kat as the one who multiplies. It's the net in which we put our abundance after, kind of like when the seeds have multiplied. And so there is this multiplication that comes in there. And the number 9, kind of like representing life itself. And so we can see that, kind of like this is collecting your abundance of life. So 9 Kat sounds like a pretty good day, right? But, there's something else in there as well. And that 9 Kat is also looking at it from the point of view of saying, kind of like, what are we harvesting in our life? What are we carrying with us in our life? As we walk through this life, we are gathering things in our bag. And as we continue to walk, our bag is getting heavier and heavier and heavier. And there's some stuff that we have to let go of. And of course, in this Ajmak Trecena, this is also a big theme of it. And so 9 cat is saying, yeah, look at this abundance that you can gather. Look at this abundance that you can carry. But also, what have you got to release from your life in order to make space for that abundance to come in order to make space for the honey, the sweetness to come in? What do you need to let go of? And so 9 cat as a day of a life review, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. What are you carrying in your net? Is it still relevant to your life? Is the human being that is you enhanced by what you're carrying with you, what you're attached to? Or is it time to let go of some of those things in your life so that you can make space for the new to come in? Okay, so these are ideas or questions that you might like to be asking yourself on 9 cat. From 9 cat, we then go into 10 can. Can, the Nawal of the teacher. Can, the Nawal of wisdom. The Nawal of power as well. The Nawal of sexuality. The Nawal of the life force that runs through our bodies. The Kayapa. And the number 10, coming together. Hands coming together. So, a lot of the time I see this, Can as the teacher. The teacher is the one who empowers those around them, empowers their students by sharing their wisdom. And so 10 can, we can very much see recognizing the teachers within our community, those who share their wisdom to empower us. We can also understand how community and society comes together with wise agreement. And that's what brings that strength, that connection. That's what we're here to do in some ways. Now, we can also see Can as a sorcerer who's trying to keep their power, and the number 10 can sort of see again about society. And so 10 can, one of the things that I feel that our teachers do is help us to see through illusions. What their wisdom brings is the ability to see through illusion. And so 10 can may be a day on which we see through the illusions of our society. Once again, we're looking at forgiveness. We're looking at a day of recognizing, hey, we're human, you're human, I'm human, we're all human. And, sometimes as we go around our life, we are trying to create an image of who we are. We have, let's say, our public image, and then we might have our private image that our family and partners get to see, or whatever, the case may be. And then we might also have the very, very private image that even our partners don't get to see, or something like that. Well, 10 can is a day on which we might recognize the illusions of society, and maybe even the illusion that we put out to society. Maybe the illusion that we're carrying is something, or creating, is something which is kind of like stifling our humanity, because we're so busy trying to be that person and trying to be that kind of like what I would say Instagram perfect, or however it might be. And we're not, because we're human and we're messy, and sometimes we're falling over, and kind of like that's sometimes we're crying about it because we fell over. And yet we're painting the smile on and we're going around our business. It's time to kind of like let that illusion drop. And so 10 can also be kind of like seeing through it, or allowing that illusion to society to be wisely dropped. And that can also be very empowering, which is that 10 can as well. From 10 can, we're then moving into 11 Kame. So Kame, the Nawal of death, the Nawal of fears, the Nawal of the ancestors, the connection to the ancestors. And it's their help that guides us through our fears and helps us to overcome them. Now, Kame days are always good days to communicate with our ancestors. They're always good days to be facing up to things. And, kind of like, well, look at what we've gone through in this Ajmak Trecena. We've initiated forgiveness. We've polished our inner diamond. We're cutting things away. We've been working on our hero. We've been choosing our words. We've been like working out our shadow and our light and releasing from our net that which we're carrying through our lifetime. And now with 11 Kame, we're kind of like we're facing the fears, because sometimes it's like, however it might be, after we've dropped the illusion, it's like, right, okay, how am I going to navigate this new reality of this beautiful, sensual, messy human being which is being born? 11 Kame may bring up kind of like some of the issues that we have to face, because we thought it was a really good idea, and then we stepped out into it and we're like, now I've got to face that, now I've got to do that. And it's like, it's okay, because Kame is going to bring them up so that you can overcome them, so that you can transform. Kame is going to take us into our magical self if we allow it to, if we face our fears. Now on 11 Kame, because the 11 is like bringing things in from all sorts of unknown places, they might be fears that you didn't expect you were going to have to face. But here they are. Are you ready to transform them or not? 11 Kame would suggest, if you can't work out how to do it, tap into the energy of your ancestors and ask for their assistance, ask for their strength. From 11 Kame, we're then going into 12 Kech. So Kech, the wilderness, the mountain place, the tree place. I always say it. I don't know whether I can give you a whole panoramic on this. There's the mountain place. There's Shepotrela. There's Tsangu Hill. There's the volcanoes. And so 12 Kech. Well, Kech, the Nawal of the wilderness. Kech, the Nawal of the natural world. And, kind of like what we see with it is that this is where we get our strength from. This is where we get what we need in our life. We are creatures of nature. We need to go and absorb. Okay, we're not going to eat the leaves like the deer or the horse would, but energetically, we're eating the forest when we go there. Energetically, maybe I should say that we're being nurtured by the forest and we're being nourished by the forest, because that's what it does. It brings us our strength. It brings us our courage. It brings us our answers too, when we go and connect with nature. And this strength that Kech brings, that our connection with the animal kingdom brings, helps us to move forwards. It brings us strength in this Ajmak Trecena, because sometimes we need the strength to forgive. Sometimes we're going to need that strength to move forwards, and sometimes we're going to need to be determined with what we do. It's kind of like, okay, like the Ajmak Trecena has helped us to forgive. The Ajmak Trecena has helped us to be a human. But we want to kind of like set that as our new course, right? And so 12 Kech is gathering together all of your life experience with the 12 and helping you to understand how to connect with the natural world, to bring you the strength to follow through on your new ideas, to bring you the strength to follow through on what you've set your intention as, and how you forgive yourself and others. And then finally, we come to the day 13 Granil. This is a rather wonderful day, right? 13 Ganil. What an amazing day. Anil, the great brightening, the great ripeness. And the number 13, spirit, the ancestors. Kind of like it is as high, let's say the dial doesn't go up any further, right? It can never be more bright and shiny than 13 Kanil. And this is kind of like, for me, this is the gold. This is the prize at the end of the Ajmak Trecena. This is what you've been working towards throughout all of it. This is, kind of like the reward for doing your work. Is one of the most beautiful, abundant, shiny days of all. Now, Anil can get carried away. Maybe I got a bit carried away there. Ajmak Trecena, I'm sure you'll forgive me, right? And like for me, I think that going to 13 Ganil, we have to be a bit careful that we don't get blinded by the light. We have to get a bit careful that we don't over celebrate it. But this is, the celebration of abundance that comes from our ancestors. This is a celebration of abundance that comes from spirit. And so, this is yes, certainly go out and celebrate what it is that you have achieved in your life. The fruits of your labor. This is what Anil is representing. This is your corn coming to its golden and ripe abundance. And here with the number 13, this is a touch of the ancestors bringing that ripening. So if there is something that you need to finish off and bring into a joyful and abundant state, then 13 Anil is a wonderful day to do it, and a wonderful day to, ask the assistance of your ancestors on it. Kind of like ask the assistance of spirit to help you to bring something to ripeness, and be aware that, kind of like whatever you're bringing to ripeness with that amount of energy behind it, it may be, let's say, bringing you more abundance than you can expect. So just stay grounded with it, okay? But for me, as I say, this is what happens when we do our work. This is what happens when we've gone through that forgiveness process. And this is the ultimate joy that comes as a result of our work during the Trecena of Ajmak. So I hope that that has been an enjoyable video for you. I hope that you've, enjoyed the scenery, and I hope that I will get to speak to you again in 13 days' time for the Trecena of Toch. Thank you.